how did this happen?
Yeah, true. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So I think we can go live now. Cool. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session of WeSkill Live. Today, we are very lucky to be joined by Kapitra ma'am, who is an experienced educator and has spent so much time in this field of EQ and child development. But I'll come to her in a bit. A little introduction about WeSkill. WeSkill is a live online extracurricular learning platform for children focusing on the age group of 4 to 14. We provide online classes for subjects like music, arts, and dance. Through this platform of WeSkill Live, we want to connect with educators and experts in the field of parenting and child development so that they can answer the questions that a lot of parents on our platform have. And in the introduction about today's speaker, Kapitra ma'am is an entrepreneur, innovative education disruptor, and has had multiple years of experience in creative expressions and alternate learning. She is a conscious parenting transformer and has amplified lives of over 10,000 children. She's also a trained Carnatic performer and has also learned Bharatanatyam and folk dance. I must say, ma'am, your education growing up, you must have got exposure to so many fields. How did you how did you cope up with so much?
I don't think it's about coping up. I suppose it relies with the parents if they introduced you to an environment which is about coping up, or it is about the environment itself. It's immersive in nature.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's the topic today, right? It's all about immersing your child, and that's the topic which talks about holistic education for kids, right?
Yeah, so absolutely. And today's session for most listeners who are joining in just right now is about holistic education and its importance while you're raising up your children. And so there are a lot of perceptions about what holistic education is, how should it be. But it would be great, ma'am, if you can just explain what the concept is. I mean, a lot of us talk about holistic education, do work in that domain, but it'd be great if you could just break it down as to what does it really mean.
Yeah. So, I've been thinking about this topic for, 2-3 days now since we decided we we're going to do this topic.
Yeah.
And, I did a lot of research. I already knew, of course, with my work, but, also to understand this from a parent's perspective, because, we need parents to understand what is holistic education for children. I want to divide this into holistic education, where it comes, where does it find roots in the past, then in the present, and then also in the future. So I'm going to divide it that way. So, but then in simple terms, if I just need to explain, just for the start of it, what is holistic education is, holistic education is an approach which kind of looks at each capability of the child, every capability which the child has, and not just on writing, reading, and arithmetics. It's as simple as that, because if you look at academics, most of it is into reading, writing, and math. And, this is where I say that most of us, have been concentrating only on the academics part for the children. And this is what I call impulse schooling. We know that we have to go to school, we are put into classrooms, and we have to, go through the rugged learning methods. And then we forget about the other part, which is the extracurricular part. The holistic part of it is much more than the extracurricular also, which we'll be discussing. Just now taking holistic education from a past perspective. There is an American psychologist who's called Abraham Maslow.
Yeah.
He developed a model of human motivation. It's called the hierarchy of needs. So it's a pyramid of hierarchy of needs which every human being needs. And if we look at the pyramid, right from the bottom, the first is the basic needs, right? We need food, we need water, we need air, all this to survive. The next is safety. We need to feel secure. We need to feel cozy. We need health. We need, the environment, our surrounding needs to be safe. Job security needs to be there. The third is relationships. We need to have good relationships, a family. The fourth is self-esteem. We need to have our internal construct. We need to be confident. We need to, kind of go ahead and, kind of with grit face life. The fifth and the most topmost of the pyramid is self-actualization. And most of us don't reach that top. We only are very happy with our, basic needs. We go to education, we, get a job, we are spending money, we are happy with things. We never understand that the highest of human motivation and potential, this is at the tip of the pyramid, the top of the pyramid. Yeah. So this is what holistic education means, that how are we going to finally reach to self-actualization, which consists of the whole holistic education part. And so this is from a past, someone who created this model. Now let's look at the present. Okay, our new education policy has been introduced after 34 years of waiting in 2020. Yeah. Now, everybody has been, looking at certain parts of the NEP, which has been passing on in the WhatsApp groups. Parents are a little confused. Parents are, thinking, what is this about? Oh, subjects are going to get mixed. What is this? There's a lot of confusion. Let's first understand where does the inspiration for new education policy comes from. Yeah. New education policy, takes its inspiration from our ancient texts, from, what has already been in our roots. And these are ancient scriptures and ancient texts from a work called Kadambari, and also from Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, and all that. So in ancient times, like even old times, universities like even Takshila and Nalanda used to have this multidisciplinary holistic approach to education. And these ancient texts actually talk about 64 kalas and 14 Vedas. Okay, and these are different art forms, different kalas, which we're talking about. This includes music, this includes dance, this includes, instruments, games. This includes simple things like, even putting a broken toy together. It includes something like making a garland. It includes something like making food and gardening, growing your own food. So these have already been there in our Indian history. And that is where NEP comes from. And the 14 Vedas are the different Vedas, the science scriptures, the knowledge scriptures, which are there with us. So the holistic education part has already been mentioned there, that, these are simple capabilities which can be developed in classrooms, in schools, in educational institutions, and also at home by parents itself. So that's the present, the NEP. Now, looking at the future, the World Economic Forum, it comes out with a report. The last report came in 2020, I think. And it kind of has a report called Future of Jobs. And, the trends which are going to be, we are going to be looking at the, the labor trends, what is the labor market going to be? Is the same job going to exist? Because, the kind of change we are looking at is going to be huge. So, the trends, the skill requirements which are going to be there in the coming years is quite different from what is required today. And if you look at closely, out of, maybe 15 skills, maybe they have mentioned, out of that around 10 skills is more related to holistic education. It's more about emotional intelligence, social influence skills, stress tolerance. It's about, a lot of creativity. It's about freshness, bringing an innovative approach and freshness to something. It's about a lot of project-based delivery, a lot of discovery-based things. And this is how holistic education is kind of going to be part of the future also. I mean, a lot of jobs are not going to be the same. So we will need a different kind of education, right? So this is what is the past, present, and the future of holistic education.
Wow, I think, ma'am, you've given a very good overview on this topic. But if you were to deep dive into what it is right now, I mean, the way it is being delivered, the perception of the parents, right? So I mean, the past 2 and almost now 3 years, children have been studying at home, and their education delivery has been impacted, yeah, at least the format of the delivery. So, what has been your experience with these children that you spend time with, or with these education institutions? How have they really tried to solve this problem?
Yeah, that's a great question actually, because we also need to look at the pandemic and how it has
Yeah,
changed the entire course of many things, and of course education itself, because children are stuck at home. This is the third consecutive year, and they're
yeah,
stuck. And it's been a journey which has kind of made me look into every child with so much of kind of one-to-one relationship. It's
yeah,
even if I work in a group, in a team, it's going to be looking at every child, because children are also experiencing, hearing the news. They're also going through the same thing. So with the pandemic came an opportunity also for parents and children to spend a lot of time together,
yeah,
which they would have never imagined spending it before. So the first opportunity came there. The second opportunity came when teachers had to also understand technology better.
yeah,
So right from standing in the classroom, in the front area, they had to kind of get on from that platform to an immersive learning platform where they have to virtually interact with children. So right from being just a more of a one-side communication where the children are
yeah,
just listeners, and at times some children get the opportunity to ask questions, and many are kind of either shy, or they're not willing, because they're also introverts. Many kids, you
yeah,
should understand, are also introverts or
yeah,
ambiverts. So they don't ask these questions. The teacher became a facilitator here, and the children and teachers have together been trying to have this relationship on the
yeah,
online platforms.
yeah,
So these kind of two opportunities. Apart from this, of course, kind of platforms like WeSkill, which is trying to kind of bridge that gap
yeah,
of holistic
yeah,
education,
yeah, no,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, these are three different opportunities which came up.
Yeah,
And now let's look at one at a time, right? I mean,
yeah,
what can you do with parents and children together at home?
yeah,
So many things, right? I mean, one is that, you are at home. There are no maids coming. Sometimes there are maids coming,
yeah,
right? You have to cook your food. You have to wash your clothes. You have to dry your clothes. You have to iron your clothes. You have to keep the house tidy. That itself looks for a lot of survival skills, which is part of the holistic education.
yeah,
So this gave an opportunity to a lot of parents and children to come together to do this.
yeah,
And if you look at a lot of, kind of 21st century skills, then we can look at some things like playing board games, telling stories to each other,
yeah,
their communication gets built, celebrating within the family. Celebration is also a part of, kind of a 21st century skill.
yeah.
How do
So,
you,
so, ma'am, if I were to build on this first point that we're talking about, and I think the way you structured it is really good.
yeah,
So, I mean, we can break this down across various stakeholders involved, right?
yes,
First are obviously the parents and the children, their relationship, and how does
yeah,
that relationship really develop these kind of skills? So, a lot of parents, especially, and this is something that I've realized while talking to a lot of them, are they themselves, because I mean the children are still growing up, right? And parenting is a skill that not everyone is very good at. So a lot of them are still developing their understanding of how should they be parenting their child.
yeah,
So they tend to, or what they've traditionally done is kind of outsource that job to the schools.
yes,
But so that they would send the children out for 8 hours and then they would do their thing, either working or whatever. But now with the children at home, they have to keep them engaged along with
yes,
their online classes, ensure that they are motivated enough
yeah,
and are growing and learning along with that. So that itself is an added responsibility. But a lot of parents are not prepared enough to be taking that kind of role. So what should parents do, primary for I mean, what are the basic sources of information, or what are the basic sources of kind of skills that parents should develop so that they can guide their children better in a holistic environment?
Yeah. So I think that's a great question again. I think the first thing we need to tell, even I'm a parent, so even tell ourselves as parents is that we have been given into this misgivings that, we are the ones who are going to develop the child into something. The child is already developed. They have their, kind of development process, which started from the womb. So they're already going. So I think the first thing any child needs is someone who can listen to the child. So listening skills is a very important thing. We don't listen. We just kind of hear. There's a huge difference between hear and listen, right? So that's the first thing, parents need to understand, that they need to listen to what the children are saying. Children are the biggest observers. They observe so much. They do not learn by, just reading, something, or, just we are talking, we're telling them to obey something, and they are like, no, they see parents. What are parents doing? How are they talking? How are they moving? That is how children learn. So, you have to understand that you have to be wary of this. This is the second point, that, you need to understand that, you know how you're behaving in front of the child. You know how you're talking in front of the child. So you're very aware. So awareness is the second skill, right? Now, number third is, there's so many other points, but I'll just kind of say a third point is, please understand that skills, education, learning doesn't need you to buy things for children. They're not going to be just, kind of getting them games, getting them, they need a lot of engagement. Of course, they love a lot of inquiry-based learning, where, they are kind of building something, they're making something, all those things are there, but that's not just one, that's not the way, there's so many things, as I said, at home, there are a lot of survival skills you can make them learn, right? So these are three things I can think about is listening, awareness, and not give into, this and this kind of going into this way of just getting kids, a lot of things and, getting done with it. So these are three things they can start their journey with.
The second element that you were talking about, or the second kind of relationship that again becomes very important, is the student to student. I mean, people learn from their peer a lot. Some of us have been blessed to get a kind of peer group which have led us on and have inspired us. But a lot of people are not as fortunate. So how should parents guide their their children to kind of choose those kind of peers, or to get the opportunity to interact with the different kinds of peer?
This is something a parent always is fighting out because parents, even as a parent, I have gone through this process at some point of time, but then what I realized is that you cannot save your child from people and other peer groups who are not of your liking. The child needs to understand every aspect of life, and for that they have to go through an experience, and this experience includes all kinds of people. You might love your child to be a book reader, a bookworm. Essentially the friend he or she has might be a sports person. The child who's a sports person, who's into kinesthetics, is someone who has a friend who's into music. So it's a kind of, this is what holistic education and learning is also, that you need to let them be, let them go,
and
just have that experience.
And this is one of the biggest feedback actually that we had got from parents as well. I mean, for example, we have a parent who stays in Aizwal, and she's interested. She wanted her daughter to learn Kathak, but there was just a limited number of opportunities for her child to learn Kathak in Aizwar. B, there weren't a peer group with whom she could connect. So now in our live class, when she's connecting with students from Delhi, from Bombay, from Bangalore, she's getting so much exposure to students who she would normally have not got. And I think that's just the beauty of online classes, when you really
Yes.
are dissipating all these kind of geographical limitations. But the third relationship, which I think so is very important, is between the institution and the child now. And how have you seen, how have institutions like schools tried to bridge this gap of holistic education in the time of the pandemic? I mean, if you can share some experiences that you had, some pointers that you've heard of, where schools have tried to solve this problem.
Yeah. So, well, I think as I said, I mean, this whole online paradigm has given a lot of opportunities. So schools are looking at different ways of interacting with children.
Yeah,
I think the schools which are doing the best. I mean, I'm not naming a few, but then the
yeah,
schools would themselves know that they're doing the best are those who are making that deep connection with the children. It's
yeah,
not that you're going to open the math book
yeah,
and do math for the next 45 minutes or 1 hour,
yeah,
or then open a science book and just do that. I think it's about getting every aspect of holistic education, project-based learning, play-based learning, which is
yeah,
you play little games, icebreakers during the short kind of
yeah,
breaks you have. Turn into music as a way of also kind of meditation, getting having this kind of time. These schools are something which are trying to make those deep connections with children
yeah,
by introducing these things.
yeah,
Also going and trying to say, go and find something and come, something which is red in color at home.
yeah, yeah.
Simple things like that. So I
Activity
think
based
even
stuff.
my
Yeah,
son
yeah,
school does that. So I'm very happy about that part. Because children cannot sit in front of the
yeah,
space just reading books,
yeah,
writing, and just listening and interacting. But more than that, it's about these different kind of engagements which needs to be done for the deep
yeah.
connection to be made,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's
No, absolutely. And that's something that we had also noticed. I mean, when we started out, and especially what we believe in is that children should do. They shouldn't
mm,
just watch. They should be actively involved in it. They should be actively uh, connected with the learning. But the larger question a lot of people do tend to ask, which is a very valid question, is holistic education even necessary? I mean, is our marks not enough in this country? Why should the parents invest their child's time in learning music and kathak, whatever, I mean, whatever sports? Why should child be doing something outside the curriculum?
uh, there is a lot of interrelationship
Yeah,
between extracurriculars, holistic education skills, and also academics. It's all
yeah,
kind of it's the same thing. It all comes together. It's
yeah,
like life. Everything comes together. So if you look at particularly music, music has a way of kind of making you breathe well, kind of feel good about yourself. There's a lot of
yeah,
mental health, which, kind of gets a lot of, massaging over there. And, you feel good. Also, it helps because it has a lot of shrutis, it has a lot of sargams, it has, the kind of beats and chords you need to have in your music, let it be classical music, singing, or instrument. It helps in a lot of math solving. You
yeah,
need that concentration to do that. Now, when it comes to dance itself, dance is more about, using your whole body. It's about expressing yourself, right? It's also about understanding space. So it also helps when you have going on trekking, when you're going mountain climbing, dance
yeah,
is a very good thing to happen.
yeah,
Same with board games. Chess helps in problem solving, analytics,
yeah,
because these are future skills which the World Economic Forum is already
yeah,
suggesting, right? So everything is connected. And what we need to do is that we need to bring two things together. We need to bring the intellect academics and the instinct, which is, the sensory instincts we have, the whole body together. So it's kind of coming together of the mind and, the heart and, the hands, the limbs, everything. So it's kind of coming together of all that. So using your whole mind, body, and spirits together to learn these holistic education skills, so that you're going to go into the future with these things. You're not going to live in the present jobs. You're going to go for the future jobs for it.
And as someone who is as accomplished in various kind of fields, and you yourself were a dancer, you've done music, you've done so much, you've done theater, puppet art. How did these skills help you? I mean, if you can talk a little bit about your personal journey, I mean, how did it help you with what you've done in your career?
Sure. So, for some reason, I'm one of those childs. I don't know how. I mean, I always give this credit to my parents, though. But I already knew, I think by the time I was in ninth grade, that, I want to take commerce. And, I want to study business. I want to study economics. And then I knew that at some point of time, I will be an entrepreneur. So thankfully, the year I entered college, there was a course on entrepreneurship and small business with economics. So it was all kind of, just came together. I manifested it maybe, and it came together. And I knew I need to work. I want to get a lot of exposure, a lot of experience. And I'm someone who doesn't believe in just, the professional journey and the passion journey. I believe in purpose. So, and also ask parents to ask their children not what they want to become. I want them to ask what problem they want to solve to make the world a better place. So when I finally, kind of after many years decided, now it's my time to start my entrepreneur journey, I said, what problem do I want to solve? So I said, education, children, and then environment. These are areas I want to concentrate on. And of course, I think everything fell into place. I've been someone who's been, kind of very happy with learning dance, and, music has always been part of my life. So I think everything kind of, we used to do theater. I used to do theater with my friends, drama when I was a kid. So we used to put up dramas in theater, musical theater. And so I think everything fell into place for me. And I understand it may not be the case for everyone. And that's why I believe in this holistic education so much, because, this is what made me who am I today. I mean, I'm slowly, growing to, understand things more better. And I already have 2 ventures, which I'm running as a founder. And I know it's a long way to go. I'm still learning, I'm learning from my ex-bosses. I'm learning from, even every child who touches me, I learn from them, because there's a lot to learn from them too, and parents too.
No, that's wonderful. I think what your journey itself is very inspiring, and where you kind of what you achieved and accomplished in life. I think that's just a wonderful objective to learn from. And if there are parents who want to learn more about ma'am and understand her journey, you can follow her on her Instagram handle, that is Chirp Chatterjee, and you can kind of get connected with her. As we end today's session, if you have some tips or any quick things that parents should do so that they can be better prepared while looking at the holistic development of their children. So if you could just share some of them.
So, I just have this simple thing to say that, I have a quote to actually end it with, which Albert Einstein said, that the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. So it's time that we change, as parents, and try to, understand that we are, sending our child into the future, and we need to understand that the future requires different skills, different sets of, talent, which a lot of which didn't exist over the last many decades. So we need to understand that the NEP is just talking, right? It just needs to action out. We need to understand that the World Economic Forum is talking about future trends, and that's what we need to concentrate on. And number 3 is, when Maslow said that self-actualization, which is the toppest kind of, point of, just trying to get all our capabilities together and out. So it's not that your child can only be a doctor or only can be a architect. They can be anything they want. So stop kind of putting your brain into a tunnel vision. Let's spread ourselves, let's open ourselves and say my child can become whatever they want, because they have that capability in them. That's human potential, human motivation, which can come together and they can achieve anything in life. That's from my side.
No, I think that's awesome, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think personally I've taken down like almost a page of pointers that I will be thinking about after today's session. But thank you so much, Kapitra ma'am, for this wonderful conversation. For our listeners, we will be coming back again next week with speakers who have accomplished and who have done as much as Kapitra ma'am has done. And we will be focusing on the topics of parenting and childcare. Thank you everyone for joining today. It's been a wonderful session. Hope you learned, and hope you all are taking as much as I did from today's session. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. All the best to WeSkill and you.